Hi, my name is Venkatesh Krishnan. I'm the product lead for integrations in Amazon Web Services. So today I'm excited to introduce a new AWS service that we launched in April of 2020. It's called Amazon AppFlow. It's a service that enables our customers to integrate different SaaS applications with AWS services without having to write any code. So with Amazon AppFlow, customers can easily create bidirectional data flows and transfer data between AWS services and all SaaS applications that they use in their businesses, and that way benefit from a secure and seamless flow of data across these different environments. Today, I'm going to talk to you about AppFlow, but before I go into it, I want to generally talk to you about why we built this service. What did we hear from our customers that motivated us to build this service, and what features and benefits are included in this service, and how we see this service delivering a lot of value to our customers. So I'm going to go and start by talking about the motivations behind building Amazon AppFlow. At Amazon, we always work backwards from our customers. So as we spoke to a lot of our customers, they said that they are increasingly using SaaS applications in their businesses. And there's a lot of valuable data in these applications that our customers would like to leverage together with data in AWS in order to gain better insights about their business. And this can drive new products, it can improve customer service, it can help target communications, and it also in general helps increase the customer lifetime value. Yet another use case that customers say will benefit from an integration across different applications and services is improvement of operational efficiency. So if we are able to seamlessly and securely connect different applications, services, processes, and devices, customers are now able to automate workflow. This reduces a lot of manual work, it streamlines policies, it reduces costs, and in general improves operational efficiency. The benefits of integrations are realized by almost everyone in an organization, and customers don't want to rely on very specific integration skill sets in order to build these integrations. So what our customers said they're looking for are these tools that will enable any user in the business, be it a CRM administrator, a BI specialist, or anyone that wants to use an integration tool to be able to use it without having to really write code. So they wanted us to build a tool that enables integration for all these users in lines of business that are able to use this tool to move data securely, seamlessly across different services. Security and data privacy are of prime importance to our customers. Now, when data flows from one service to the other, from one system to the other, customers want to make sure that there's no leak of data, it's secure, it's encrypted, but also they want to minimize the exposure of this data to the public internet. So when data traverses trusted network boundaries, they want to make sure that the exposure that it gets to internet-based attack vectors is minimized to a great extent. So these are some of the requirements that our customers said they have, and essentially what we have done is work backwards from our customers' requirements to build a new AWS service. It's called Amazon AppFlow. It enables our customers to create data flows between SaaS applications and AWS services in just a few clicks. So it's a UI-driven service where you can come in and define your data flow requirements via configuration. So you can select a source, you select a destination, you specify when to move the data. So you specify the trigger mechanisms for the flow. You can also process data. You can transform the data. You can filter it. You can mask sensitive fields. And once you specify your requirements using the UI, our fully managed service takes on the task of provisioning the necessary resources that are needed, the compute, storage, and networking resources that are needed to execute your flow. It will orchestrate your flow and execute it whenever the trigger occurs. So the users specify the requirements using a UI-driven user experience. So you select your source, you select your destination, you then select the objects that you want to transfer from within the source to the destination. As I said, you can specify triggers. There are three types of triggers for these flows that we support. One is an event-driven trigger, where, for example, in Salesforce, if there are change data capture events or platform events, then AppFlow will trigger the flow whenever those events occur. So it's a near real-time transfer of data. And as soon as that event occurs, as soon as the object changes its state in the source system, the data is pulled and it's sent to the destination in a few seconds. The second option is to trigger the flow on a schedule. So let's say, for example, you want to move data from the source to the destination on a periodic basis, daily perhaps, at a specific time. You can set up a flow. So we support up to a 1 minute minimum frequency. And so you are able to pull data at that high a frequency where you are able to transfer it every minute, or you can choose another frequency of your choice. The third option is to run the flow on demand. Again, this is where you would set up the flow and then manually trigger it at the end of your setup. The next step is to map the source fields to the destination fields. So we provide you a mapping interface that enables you to identify which field goes into which destination field from the source. You can also combine fields as part of this mapping. So you can take two fields, perhaps two string fields, and concatenate them, or two numeric fields and add them, subtract them, or perform other mathematical operations and put them and populate a destination field based on that. You then can set up filters. Let's say you don't want to pull all records from the source and send it to the destination, but you want to pull only records that were created within a certain time frame. You can go and set up a filter that does exactly that for you. Let's say that your data has some sensitive, your fields have some sensitive data. Like, for example, there's PII information, or there is social security numbers that you want to mask. So as part of the data transfer, you can specify masks that will redact a certain number of fields. You can validate records. So let's say, for example, you're pulling records from the source and putting it into a destination, and you want to make sure that you are only transferring valid records. So you can set up a validation criteria that checks whether the fields are valid and then sends it to the destination. You can truncate fields. So if you have fields which have strings and you want to truncate it after a certain number of characters, that's yet another option that you can choose. So once you set up your flow, you just go and activate your flow if it's to be triggered based on an event or a schedule. So as soon as you activate the flow waits for the event to occur or for the schedule to be hit. And as soon as that happens, the data transfer will happen from the source to the destination. And on demand flow, as soon as you save your flow, you will see a run button that appears. And as soon as you hit the button, the data transfer is instantaneously triggered, and it will move the data from the source to the destination. Under the hood, AppFlow provisions the necessary compute, storage, and networking resources that are needed in order to transfer data, and it will make API calls into the source and destination systems and essentially orchestrate the flow. So it will call the source system, pull the data, process it if you've set up processing, and then call the destination system to insert the data. I would also like to point out that as part of our offering, we are not being opinionated about only supporting SaaS applications. We are looking to expand our offering to support applications that run on premises, applications that run on cloud, and so on. Yet another aspect of AppFlow that I would like to highlight is the leverage of AWS Private Link. So with applications that have already integrated with AWS Private Link, what AppFlow does is out of the box enables orchestration and execution of flows entirely over the private network path. So in order to do so, what AppFlow does is it automatically sets up Private Link endpoints and connects to these services on the source and on the destination side and executes API calls over these endpoints. And that way, when the data flow happens, the data never gets exposed to the public internet. So we are working with SaaS vendors to build out that underlying infrastructure. Currently, we support private link based private flows with 3 of the 14 sources and destinations that we support. That includes Singular, Trend Micro, and Snowflake. But we are rapidly growing this ecosystem to increase the number of SaaS applications that we support, but also increase the number of applications, SaaS applications that are integrated over private link, so that you have the option of transferring data entirely over the private backbone. Some of the use cases that we have heard customers get really excited about when they learn about this service, especially in the healthcare and life sciences space, include use cases where they want to aggregate data from multiple sources and from larger population sets to improve the quality of their analysis. So with AppFlow, with the applications that we will support over time, you will be able to pull data from a lot of different sources, aggregate them into data lakes, and then you'll be able to leverage that for analysis, for improving the quality of your analysis, keeping the data fresh. So you can set up flows that brings in data on a periodic basis to make sure that your analysis is fed with data that's fresh. You can also connect multiple systems to automate workflows, and this enables you to improve your process efficiency and deliver care much faster and more efficiently. In the life sciences space, a lot of our customers are excited about the ability that AppFlow will provide in basically aggregating data and combining data from different sources, example, genotypic data and phenotypic data, in order to feed a lot of analysis that aids research. So connecting large evolving research platforms to contract research organizations is yet another use case in the life sciences space that makes AppFlow an interesting product. Broadly, the value proposition that we offer through Amazon AppFlow is that we enable powerful data transformation, data transfer, and facilities such as automated pagination, error logging, network connection retries. So we ensure that we provide out-of-the-box integration capabilities without customers having to build a lot of these components that I mentioned, the data transformation piece, the pagination, error logging, etc., on their own. So it comes out of the box and you get enterprise-level automation. You can also use AppFlow. You can use AppFlow for a wide range of use cases, be it transferring data in near real time, small volumes of data, or you can use AppFlow to transfer large volumes of data. This is for bulk transfers. So in a single flow run, you are able to transfer large volumes of data. You don't have to break up your flows into multiple smaller flow runs in order to be able to move data. Yet another value proposition is security. So by default, your data is always encrypted. We will always encrypt your data at rest as well as in transit. But we also offer you the flexibility to bring in your own encryption keys. So you can use a customer managed CMK, and it's pretty straightforward to use, and I'll show it to you in a demo. So you can use a customer managed CMK, and that gives you a lot of control over how the encryption happens. You can set policies on these keys. You can revoke the keys if needed. So you get better security with AppFlow. With SaaS applications that have integrated with private link, you get end-to-end private data transfer, and you're now able to transfer your data without exposing it to internet-based attack vectors. Finally, you get all of this in a no-code interface. So it makes it really attractive for users who do not want to write code. They're citizen integrators that want to benefit from integrations, but they're not integration experts. They're not integration developers that can write code in order to move data. So it takes away the heavy lifting and packages the capabilities of an enterprise level integration in a no-code user interface. I would also like to talk to you a little bit about best practices. So applications that AppFlow supports as source and destination often have limitations on API calls. So as you are using AppFlow, we under the hood make API calls into these applications based on the credentials you're provided. So essentially, you should be aware that the data transfers will count against your rate limits. So you should be aware of how you set up your flows so that you don't hit these rate limits. You must also ensure that you comply with all the access policies for the source and destination systems, which you'll use to move data and make sure that you manage them appropriately. AppFlow will move the data from systems that you have access to destinations that you have access to, but then you want to make sure that when the data lands in the destination, appropriate access policies are set so that it's only users who can access it are able to view the data and use the data. Finally, we would also recommend that you use customer managed CMKs. As I said, this gives you better control over your encryption. You can set policies, you can revoke it if needed. We are super excited about our roadmap. We do plan to offer more connectors that are useful to customers, especially in the healthcare life sciences space. We support Viva systems today as a data source, but we are looking to expand that and offer new connectors that will deliver the benefits of integrations to our customers in this space. We are also looking to support industry-specific data standards such as FHIR, HL7, and DICOM in the near future. So I'm going to show you a demo of using Amazon AppFlow to transfer data from Viva systems into AWS. You can find Amazon AppFlow under the application integration category in your AWS management console. So you click on it to go to the landing page. The first step is to create a flow. So click on Create Flow button. That takes you into the page where you would specify your flow details. So enter a flow name. And you can enter a description. The next step is to choose an encryption option. So if you don't choose an option, if you just leave it with the default, AppFlow will encrypt your access keys, tokens using, and of course the data in transit and at rest using an AWS managed key in your account. But if you have a key that you have provisioned through AWS KMS, the key management service, then you can choose the customize encryption settings option and choose the key that you have provisioned. So I have a key here that I'm going to choose. You can also choose to tag your flow. Once you're done, you click next. The next step is to choose your data source and your destination. So in this case, I'm going to choose Viva systems, and you can connect to Viva right away. So you can either create a new connection, or if you've already created a connection, just you can use the connection. So I'll just click on create a new connection to show you what you need. You need a username and a password and the name of your instance. And then you pick a connection name so that we can store it. And the next time you create a connection, you don't really have to re-enter this information. We will always store your credentials securely in our secrets manager using the encryption option that you have chosen. So I'm just going to use the connection that I've already created. The next step is to pick the object, the specific Viva object that you want to transfer from Viva into S3. So I'm going to go and look for product, and then I'm going to bring that into S3. The next step is to select your destination. I'm going to pick Amazon S3. You can see we support Redshift, Snowflake, and Salesforce as destinations at this time. So you can pick Amazon S3, and you pick the bucket where you want to bring the data. There are two trigger options that are supported with Viva systems. The first one is to run the flow on demand, which is, as soon as I set up this flow, I'll come and run the flow. The second option is to run it on a schedule. And as I said earlier during the presentation, you can pick the frequency of data transfer. And you can, if you choose a lower frequency, like for example, if you're moving it only on a daily basis, you also have the option of transferring all of the data, not just data that has changed. But if you choose, for example, an hourly data transfer frequency, then the default option is for you to, the only option rather is for you to choose is only to transfer new data. So every time we run the flow, we go and look for what has changed on Viva systems and incrementally transfer that data into S3. For the purposes of this demo, I'm going to run this on demand so that as soon as I'm done configuring it, I can just run the flow and show you that it's transferring. The next step is to pick the fields that you want to transfer. You have two options. Either you can manually map the fields using the mapping interface below, or you can upload a CSV file with the map fields. And if you want to do that, you just create a simple CSV file with the source and destination field names in pairs in every line. So every line will have one source field name, a comma, and the corresponding destination field name. And you can upload that as a .csv file, and we will automatically import the mapping. In this case, what I'm going to do is just choose a simple option and select the map all fields directly. So that way I'm going to bring in all fields from Viva into S3. I can, for example, if I want to redact, say, the ID for some reason, then I go select the ID field and I select modify values, and I can go and choose a masking option. In this case, I can mask the first 5 characters. Maybe I want to mask the first 6 characters of this ID. So I can choose how many characters I want to mask and whether they should be leading characters or trailing characters to mask. And as soon as I've done it, you can see that a data modification step is added. I can also choose to combine 2 fields. Let's say, for example, I pick the product abbreviation and external ID. I want to pick those 2 fields and map them with a formula where I basically concatenate the 2 fields and create a concatenated ID field in the destination. I can do that, and it will show you the field, the new field, the concatenated ID field in the list of fields that it will transfer. Once that's done, the next step is to choose any filters that you want to apply. For example, in this case, I want to apply a filter where I just bring in records that were created before, say, the 1st of May 2020. So I'm setting up filter criteria to limit the records that I'm bringing into S3 to only those that were created before the 1st of May 2020 in Viva. And so that's a filter that I've added. And that's it. Your flow is all ready. It's set up. Next step is to create the flow. And then once we save the flow, you'll see a run button that appears. There you go. Next step is to just run the flow. And this will initiate the transfer from Viva into S3. And once the transfer is done, the status will update. And then we'll be able to click into the S3 bucket directly from here. There you go. Just transferred 2 records. That's all there was in my Viva account. And you just click on it. You're taken to the S3 bucket, and you can just open the file to see the transferred records. There you go. So you can see that it redacted the ID field, it masked the first 6 characters, and it brought data from Viva into S3. And so that was the demo. Thank you very much.